For over a decade, Mr. Kilunda was the man every Tahidi High student feared and every Kenyan household loved to watch. He wasn't the funniest teacher, he wasn't the richest, but somehow he became one of the most unforgettable characters on Kenyan television. For nearly 15 years, millions of Kenyans watched him chase stubborn students, investigate school scandals, and restore discipline in ways nobody expected. Then, he disappeared. Years later, Kenyans were shocked to discover that the once famous actor was no longer living the glamorous Nairobi life many imagined. Instead, he had quietly moved back to his rural village. The biggest question is, why would someone walk away from fame? Was it financial struggles? Did acting stop paying? Or did he simply discover that village life offered something Nairobi never could?
Mimi leo nimekasirika sana. Kuna msichana amekuja hapa anasema ati anataka kukula ndizi yangu. Anataka kukula ndizi yangu.
Stay until the end because Mr. Kilunda's real reason for leaving the city may completely change how you think about success. Before moving back to the village, Ted Kitana, better known as Mr. Kilunda, was one of the pioneer actors on Citizen TV's Tahidi High.
Mr. Kilunda, I am not lending you any more money.
I need 1,000 shillings more than I need to know about head boys.
And unlike many television teachers, Mr. Kilunda wasn't there to make students laugh.
You cannot come to school with uniform that have holes the size of our staff room windows. Tell your parents, I want to see you in new uniform.
He was there to make them panic. The moment he appeared on screen, students instantly knew they had been caught. Whether investigating missing school property, breaking up student conspiracies, or punishing the most stubborn troublemakers, Mr. Kilunda always found a way to stay one step ahead. His strict personality became his trademark. In fact, many viewers tuned in just to see who would outsmart the other.
I am not Mr. Obija. Mimi nitakulima.
Will the students finally defeat Mr. Kilunda? Or will he expose yet another prank? It almost felt like watching Tom and Jerry. Every episode became a battle of intelligence.
What's this with you and the girls?
Excuse me?
I mean, Goretti claims you are having relationships with girls.
That's not true. Oh, she says something that outrageous, huh?
His unpredictable nature made him one of the most loved characters on Kenyan television. For almost 15 years, he became part of millions of Kenyan homes. To many, it felt like Mr. Kilunda would always be there. Tahidi High and Mr. Kilunda seemed inseparable. But nothing lasts forever. Not even a legendary run on Kenyan television. After years of dominating the screen, Mr. Kilunda's run on Tahidi High eventually came to an end, and the timing could not have been worse. At the time, the show was discontinued right as the COVID-19 pandemic hit, throwing the entire entertainment industry into uncertainty. Productions were halted, income dried up. For an actor whose livelihood depended on a steady acting gig, this was a turning point that demanded a hard decision. Ted Kitana had to look for an alternative way to make ends meet. And so, in 2020, he packed up his city life and returned to his rural home in Kangundo, Machakos County. Many assumed this was the end of his success story, but they couldn't have been more wrong. Because what happened next proved that fame is not the only form of wealth. Back in Kangundo, Ted Kitana refused to depend on memories of his television career. Instead, he went back to something he had learned as a young boy: farming. Growing up, his father owned a farm. those childhood lessons suddenly became valuable. Mr. Kilunda invested his time and energy into agriculture.
Here we have some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can see them, they are Kenyan.
But he did not stop there. He also ventured into several businesses, including salons, an M-Pesa shop, and other small investments. Unlike many people who fear starting over, he embraced the opportunity. In one interview, he explained,
I decided to come home and spend some time with my mom.
Today, his businesses employ several workers while farming remains one of his most reliable sources of income. Ironically, the man who once disciplined students on television now spends many of his days tending crops, a completely different life, yet one he says he genuinely enjoys. But perhaps the biggest surprise is that he has no regrets. Here is where the story takes an interesting turn. Even now, Mr. Kilunda still lives in Kangundo, Machakos County, while his wife and children remain in Nairobi. He has spoken about loving the simplicity of village life, the fresh food, the slower pace, and the freedom from the stress that comes with city living. For a man who spent years navigating the pressures of a demanding television schedule, that peace clearly means something.
Hello. Yes, my friend. Yeah, today we want to go to Mel. Yes.
In his own words, I have come to love the place. I have no plans of going back to the city unless a job opportunity comes up. That statement surprised many fans, because while countless people dream of moving to Nairobi, Mr. Kilunda discovered happiness after leaving it. His story reminds us that success doesn't always mean living in the biggest city. Sometimes success simply means finding peace where you are.
Hello, my loyal subjects. I am your Igwe.
Today, many Kenyans still remember Mr. Kilunda as the fearless teacher who kept Tahidi High students under constant pressure. But behind that television character was a man who understood something many people learn much later in life. Careers can change, fame can disappear, but skills, hard work, and the willingness to start again can build an entirely new future. If this story taught you something new about one of Kenya's most memorable TV characters, hit like and drop a comment telling us what you remember most about Mr. Kilunda. Subscribe to this channel for more untold stories, and we will see you in the next one.